Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Hello, this is your host, the Twitterless heroine herself, the ring announcer to the stars, the most professional podcaster, and of course, the queen of soft style, Miranda Morales, your host of the hashtag Miranda Show. Welcome to another edition. The hashtag Miranda Show is a proud part of thechairshot.com and the Chairshot Radio Network.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
Yes.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
Coming back down with the two Chairshot commercials back to back, just to let all of you know.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
That's the art of video. The finger they saw didn't press the button. The finger they didn't press the button.
Oh, magic.
It's like
magic?
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
This one's better though. Continue.
Yeah, anyways, because the quality on that one wasn't coming through so hot for me. I don't know. Well,
of which one?
Of the Adam Cole baby.
Oh, I can't allow that to happen.
Oh, okay. That was a bit better. Yeah, that was a bit better. Yeah, no, you're doing good. Yes, I'm Miranda Morales, and of course, my co-host, which I couldn't do the show without, literally, because he is the button man, the kingpin of the Chairshot.com, Greg DeMarco. I would say welcome, but we've been already doing
the button
this.
Man.
The button man. Button man.
And you got claps for it too?
Oh, yeah, there's a good rhythm to it. The button
that
man.
is. It does have good rhythm to it. Like, I dig it. I definitely.
Yes. Yeah, you know, we're all about coming up with insider jokes and fun names here. This show has also been known as the hashtag Dave Show for a few weeks. There was another name we came up with.
We can't even remember.
Can't even remember because
Dave,
it's so.
It's me, Dave.
Let me see if this gets us in trouble.
Here comes the big dog.
All right, we'll see if YouTube hates that.
We'll see what happens with YouTube. Who knows? YouTube is a mysterious world that I don't understand. But that's also where this show, the hashtag Miranda Show, is on. It's also available on your favorite podcast streaming platform like Spotify, iHeartRadio, the others, and others.
iTunes, kind of a big one.
iTunes, yes.
Apple
iTunes.
Podcast.
You know I'm an Android user. I
too.
always forget about
Google
the Apple
Pixel right here. Not that you can tell.
Okay.
Google Pixel.
I got a Samsung.
Right here.
Samsung.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've talked about that before, how neat. We're like probably the only podcast in the world where with multiple people where no one has an iPhone. Like,
that is, yeah.
But that's
I'm the only person in my own family. Like, nobody I know.
I'm going to be the only person in my own family. So originally with 3 Androids and the wife, of course everyone knows as a lovely and talented Mrs. DeMarco, had the iPhone. Then the daughter eventually wanted the iPhone and got the iPhone recently for her birthday. And now the son is like, yo, Christmas is coming up, and I kind of want an iPhone. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, everybody's fucking a bad. It's just me and Miranda now because everybody else is like going to the way of the Apple. And, you know, I'm going to name the Apple Pat.
Fuck you, Pat.
That's what I have to say about that right there.
Yes, of course. And I fortunately have just 2 dogs, and neither of them have asked me for iPhones yet. I feel like they're going to start asking for Apple Watches soon, so I'm going to have to watch.
They make Apple collars.
Not yet, but those that are listening to this are going to get started on it.
We told AEW last week to sign Tainara, and they immediately signed.
And they did it. Like they just did it the next day.
The next day, I get this message from Miranda. It's like they were listening.
They were listening even before it was released.
And they should keep listening. Yeah, I know. But they should keep listening because
this advice is for free, really.
It's good advice too. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good advice. Yeah.
This is advice that they need to take to heart and put into practice. I'm just gonna keep fucking your show up. I just want you to know that right now.
I know we've been off the rails now. This is hour 2 of that. So if anyone has listened to the Greg DeMarco show, that was recorded right before this, but it's released at least a day or 2 before the #Miranda show. So you get a head start. And Greg was ready. We had a whole topic ready to go. A great topic, a topic that actually discussing, low key for several weeks, and we got nowhere on that topic.
Nowhere. Not at all. Nothing. No. And I loved it. Those are the best shows, to be honest.
Yeah, they really are.
Those are pure entertainment.
Yeah.
That's where I've said this before. I've said it on multiple podcasts. I've said it to you probably on air, and I know I've said it to you off air. Podcasting has nothing to do with the subject matter 95% of the time, because it's a wrestling podcast. Okay. Now, granted, the topic we were going to talk about, you don't hear a lot of podcasts talking about it, and we'll probably talk about it next week, and it's probably going to be amazing. But podcasts are about personality. That's what it is. Like, podcasts are about personality and chemistry and dialogue and fun. And if you're having fun, the show will be good. And if you're not having fun, the show won't be good. I remember one time years ago, Patrick and I think Andy Critchell from 411 Mania, we ran down an episode of Raw, like segment by segment. It wasn't fun for us, and the show sucked.
Wow, it probably was the most boring thing ever.
But that's what podcasts were doing. So I was like, every other podcast is doing it. Let's do it. And we never did it again.
No.
And because it's just not entertaining.
And I feel like that's just kind of the way that you figure out podcasting for you. But I know for me, the reason why I do, especially this show, is because I enjoy listening to podcasts and being a part of podcasts that are really, people organically talking about different subjects. Now, this show and the Greg DeMarco show tends to focus on wrestling, but we also go into wildly different directions and lots of random things, because that's also
Just to give people an example. So on this week's edition of the Greg DeMarco show, we talked about refrigeration. We talked about the NFL. We talked about
The Mandalorian.
We talked about Batman, sort of a little bit, yes. We talked about things
Adam
I can't
Pearce.
Remember right now. Adam Pearce, yeah, that's a wrestling point.
That's a wrestling topic.
I don't even know,
that
what
was
I'm
really
going to put.
the only wrestling
It
topic.
was.
No, because there were things we talked a little bit about.
Dean Ambrose, John Moxley
Dean
came up.
Miro.
Yes, and all the horrible.
Buddha,
NWA.
Like,
Have you found the results yet from the NWA?
My sources tell me, Greg. I can confidently say my sources have told me that Nick Aldis is still the NWA World Champion.
I'm your source because I said it during the show.
Exactly. I don't understand. What's the big deal? If you're my source, you just outed yourself. Congratulations.
I did. I'm sorry.
The people didn't need to know that.
Nice try, though.
Whatever. I mean, they would have guessed, I'm sure.
Real quick, though.
I'm afraid
Hang
I've
on,
got
soundbite.
some bad news.
I was just going to plug our socials. I hadn't gotten to that point yet. Myself, Miranda Morales, I'm the Twitterless heroine. So I'm not on Twitter, but you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at the #Miranda. Hashtag spelled out. Spell out the word hashtag. If you
I was like, what do you mean hashtag spelled out? Then I realized you weren't doing the, like when your COVID test came back negative and it was like hashtag no COVID. Like that's, but you were actually saying the word hashtag, not the symbol.
Exactly. The no symbol, not a symbol hashtag, just the word hashtag, Miranda.
Remember when it was a pound sign?
Oh, God, Gray, I just feel so old. I'm so tired. I like everything about the world. Yeah, it was a pound sign. Literally, I still use it sometimes when I'm doing video conferencing, when I have to enter a PIN. But now the kids these days do not know that. They say, oh, the hashtag? No,
it's not a pound sign anymore. You couldn't. Yeah. I would probably tell people to hit the hashtag, not hit the pound sign.
But you know what? I'd rather be the hashtag Miranda instead of the pound sign Miranda.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, I'd rather.
If it were still a pound sign, I don't think your nickname ever would have become hashtag Miranda on Twitter, thus becoming what it is now in the name of your podcast and your social media handle. None of that ever would have happened because
No. So you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
We'll stick with hashtag.
Going full circle, yes. And if you want to find my co-host Greg, you can find him at Chairshot Greg on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, along with the Chairshot. You can follow the Chairshot on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Chairshot Media. And of course, you can go to thechairshot.com for your wrestling news, analysis, and opinions.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Now, Greg, as the kingpin of the Chairshot.com, you are always working behind the scenes to help the Chairshot grow, to add content, of course, the Chairshot Radio Network, and we have a big announcement, you really do, as the kingpin, regarding a new show that is coming to the Chairshot.
I do, and I'm super excited about it. So I announced it earlier, but I want to announce it here as well. And by the time you listen to this, unless things get delayed again, you should be alive on thechairshot.com. But there was a program called Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly, or Women's Wrestling Weekly, depending on when you listen to it. As part of AfterBuzz TV, that was hosted by TK Trinidad, hosted by Emily May, and hosted by Sarah the Rebel. And with everything going on in the state of California, AfterBuzz is not really letting people in their studio. So a lot of things there are on hold. So Women's Wrestling Weekly has rebranded as Women's Wrestling Talk, and they're coming home, at least their new home, to
thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
I'm so excited about it. So when I got a text on, I think it was Friday, maybe Thursday, that was like, hey, what would you think about this? And the person you would associate with this person, they're very long-winded. And so it was a very long message. Like, hey, there's this, there's that, how are you doing? Okay. Oh, hey, by the way, what about this? And whereas I would have been like, hey, what about this? But it was very much, I was like, yes, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. And when we had that conversation on Saturday, it was just like, yeah, 100%, I'm in, like, you know. And she was like, oh, go back and listen to some of the shows, see if you would like it. I was like, I've listened to the show before. Yeah. Like, and not only that, but had I not listened to the show before, I would have been like, hey, Miranda, what do you think about this? And she would have been like, do it. So it just made perfect sense. And I'm extremely proud to have such a well-respected, well-known women's wrestling show, self-titled, but I believe it, the #1 women's wrestling podcast on the planet is coming to the Chairshot with Women's Wrestling Talk. Lots of great guests, lots of great panelists they bring on, and just really, really excited that they came to us and they wanted to be a part of the network as part of their distribution. And I'm just really excited to roll that out and get that going on the Chairshot. We have a lot of great content on the Chairshot. And if you go back in the history of the Chairshot, because people change and they come and they go and things happen, we've actually featured a ton of women on the Chairshot.com and featured a lot for women's wrestling. And it's been very important to me not to say, hey, we feature women, but to just feature everybody, to not say that, to not bring somebody on because they're a woman, but to bring somebody on because they're talented and because they can contribute and because they're different, because they're not something that you'll see everywhere else. And there's a reason why, pull the curtain back just a little bit, people that get featured on the Chairshot tend to get inquiries from other places asking them to come aboard their own places. And it's been happening for years, since day one of the Chairshot. And people tend to stick around because we give them the freedom that we give them. We help, we work, we do everything we can. And to have this crew coming on board, and of course that leads to more collaboration and more crossovers and just a lot of great things. I'm really excited and really proud that I'm proud to have the show, to have Women's Wrestling Talk as part of the Chairshot. But I'm also proud that they wanted to come and they wanted to be a part of the Chairshot. And to have built something like that and to have it be a space that they consider to be welcoming of their product and something that, because they believe in this product fully. I mean, they are way behind this product.
It's such a fantastic product. And I love how each one of the hosts brings such a different perspective. And it is such a focus on women's wrestling from all, sides of professional wrestling, where they'll bring in, of course, wrestlers. They brought in people with other roles behind the scenes, and then themselves. They all have different roles within wrestling. Sarah is a professional wrestler. Featured with Women of Wrestling, WOW, and all, really all over the U.S. Emily, has the experience from in front of the camera, behind the camera, and producing role in the backstage interviewing, and DK Trinidad also in a hosting capacity, more on kind of the entertainment side, but as a fan of professional wrestling. So you have three women who not only have an appreciation and fandom for wrestling, they all have different backgrounds in it. And it comes together beautifully in their interviews and in their content. So I think it's a huge score for the Chairshot to have this podcast. A huge congratulations to them, to thechairshot.com. I think it's going to be awesome. And I hope it brings, more people to the Chairshot, because there really is truly a podcast for everyone through the Chairshot Radio Network, really. And there's, other podcasts that are not wrestling related too. With other sports, with video games, with other kinds of fandom. And that's the beautiful thing about this website. And I can attest to it about people that I've met, I've talked to. As soon as they know that I work with thechairshot.com, like a light bulb comes off. And of course, usually the next question is, how's Greg? Or, oh, that's Greg's website. It usually goes to Greg. That's fine. That's hey. Marshall.
I'm not complaining about that, right?
Yeah, Greg. Yeah. But
that happens for a reason. I just want to point that out. That happens for a reason.
Yes, it does.
Just saying.
But it's also opened a lot of doors for me to work in other projects like Big Gold Belt Media and Lucha Central, which are things that I love and enjoy. So, again, going back to what you were saying too, podcasting really is about, having an outlet not only to express your opinions and your thoughts, but also to share that with others and make them feel included. And for me, as a female fan, I've struggled a lot with finding content that, I feel like is really driven and created by women. And to have a product like Women's Wrestling Talk, like it just, it's very cool. It's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing. And again, it's something, just as a female fan, I really appreciate having content like that, an outlet like that, because it makes me feel a little less alone as being a wrestling fan, and also, again, to see different perspectives and thoughts and opinions as also a female fan is really great, because I feel like there's a little bit of a stereotype about, women, female wrestling fans, about, what draws us. I've had so many times people are like, oh, well, you only watch because of the guys, in their trunks, and it's a kind of antiquated, and also too, we've had this huge rise in women's wrestling, and it's taken it to a whole new level. So now that women's wrestling is not viewed as a side act, but it's part of main events, it's a beautiful time to be not only a female wrestling fan, but to be part of women's wrestling, to be part of podcasting, just to be a part of, the wrestling community as a whole. So again, big congratulations. Make sure you stay tuned to thechairshot.com for more information, and for hopefully the first episode coming up soon.
Yeah, very excited. I was going to play a self-serving soundbite, but you got so sentimental and heartfelt there, I just couldn't do it. So I couldn't be more thrilled.
Yes. Well, also another way that you can support thechairshot.com, well, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot, and there you can find over 25 different t-shirt designs there. Of course, you can find some of the classic t-shirts, like the OG Chairshot Worldwide, and multiple Always Use Your Head t-shirts. But of course, you have some really unique t-shirts of Save Tag Team Wrestling, of course, and of course it's slipping. Baron Corbin sucks. How could I forget? It's been a while, but that's the same. Even if I forget, that doesn't change the fact. Baron Corbin.
Classic.
Sucks. Yes, classic. The Chairshot Corona t-shirt, the beer, not the pandemic. And of course, t-shirts supporting multiple podcasts, including the Queen of Soft Style t-shirt. You can go to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot to order your very own t-shirt. T-shirts start at $19.99, but for a few extra dollars, you can upgrade and get a soft style t-shirt. And of course, you can get lots of different colors and lots of different designs, lots of different t-shirt types. Really, the world is your oyster. So go to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot to get your very own Chairshot t-shirt today.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey folks, PC Tony here. Thanks to our new partnership with Angry Lemonade, you can save 10% on physical products and digital commissions using the promo code Chairshot. Head to angrylemonade.net to check out their amazing catalog of products and services. Use the promo code Chairshot to save 10%. That's angrylemonade.net.
Are you looking for the newest and hottest in the world of pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 6,000 hours of the best events from over 150 of your favorite promotions from 20 different countries around the globe. Brands like Progress Wrestling, Evolve Wrestling, Combat Zone, Defy, PCW Ultra, PWX, Over the Top, Shine, and hundreds of others with fresh content added every day for only $5.99 per month. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
That's over 150 of your favorite promotions found exclusively at Powerslam.tv. So go to Powerslam.tv and you'll get a free week. But if you use the promo code Chairshot, you will get a free month. Now, a month is only $6, but why not try it out and see if you like it first? And do it on us. Go to Powerslam.tv, promo code Chairshot, get your free month. Again, that's Powerslam.tv, promo code Chairshot.
Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
That's literally the best commercial break we've ever done.
That
Right
is
there.
literally the best, yes. Well, of course, because Adam Cole was involved. So, of course, anything that has Adam Cole in it, I'm sure you consider is the best thing ever.
I also, come on. NAV 30, IZW.
NAV 30, that is also true.
Tickets.
Get
I
your
believe I
tickets.
just agreed to give you a poster to hang up.
Yes. No, you did. So
Okay.
I can hang it up here. I'll find some, way so I can have it there. So every week that we do this between now and November, y'all will see NAV 30 poster. Go to IZWWrestling.com to get your tickets for IZW NAV 30, Saturday, November 21st.
Yep.
Yes.
Gun Studios of Arizona. Come on out and celebrate. All your ticket options are available over at NAV 30. People listening locally, T-shirt winner will be announced soon. The T-shirt promotion is over. Tickets are still available, and tickets are going fast. So definitely pick those up. Seating is limited.
And if you aren't fortunate enough to get a free IZW T-shirt as part of the giveaway, we also have IZW T-shirts available at prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot. So you can go and buy your own IZW T-shirt in preparation for Saturday, November 21st.
Go figure. The show that Greg promotes and the website that Greg runs, T-shirts available in the same place. Who would have known?
Who would have known? You guys are real lucky.
Right now, are you fucking with me?
No, I'm not. It really is available.
No, we take care of you. We take care of you.
Oh, a clap and points.
Yes.
What?
I know. His mind's so blown. His mind is so blown.
Holy cow.
He didn't know. That's next level. Like, literally, he's just trying to master the basic class.
I can't even make an attempt this week. Like that.
Yeah.
Just like that was some BMF stuff right there.
Some of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet are on that plane.
Yes.
So real quick, this idea was brought up last week with my new studio setup to share a little bit of information every week about some of the items that are displayed. What?
I forgot we were doing that.
No. I just wanted to do a quick segue. One quick item. I'm going to do the biggest item that you probably see behind me, and every week we'll do something just a little fun. But earlier we were talking about the NWA and the World Champion and Championship. Nick Aldis defended that earlier tonight.
Sources say he won.
Sources say, my sources tell me that he did retain against Mike Bennett. Yeah. And so because we talked about the World's Championship, I wanted to show off my World's Championship. This item right here, this lovely plastic belt. I know. You guys thought it was probably super real, super legit. But this is actually, and of course, this mimics more of the World Class Championship. You could kind of see the shape. There's this two-headed eagle here, heavyweight champion, all of that kind of fun stuff. This is actually a belt that I bought as part of a lucha costume at Goodwill like 5 years ago. It had a lucha mask and a title belt. And I actually went to Las Vegas for a weekend away, and it was Halloween weekend. So, I brought extra costumes and items for people to wear. And all that remains is this belt. The lucha mask is somewhere lost, decimated in the streets of Las Vegas. Don't know what happened to it. But I had to keep this belt because one, I'm not going to spend hundreds of dollars on a replica belt. I'm not going to do it.
No. I don't believe
But this beauty here has been with me for quite some time, and I just wanted to display it behind me. And it's just my World Championship. So every time, I look at it, I just remember I'm the champ.
Champ. Not the champ. I'd get you a second belt for that, but the champ.
No, that's also true. Again, if anyone would like to give me a belt, hey, I would graciously accept it, but I'm also not going to buy a belt.
No, they're not cheap. Trust me.
No, they're not cheap. But, this one, like, again, just this feeling like I was the world champion, world-class champion. Like, just that in and of itself, I kind of thought it was cool. Because you see sometimes, like, super, super cheap belts that don't really look like an actual belt,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, like, it's just like, who the hell made this? Like, it's just like patchwork belt. I don't know.
I can tell you who made it. It's a company called Brigade Belts. And way too many indie promotions use them.
Well, anyways, for me, just to have some of that nostalgia with it, with just the shape and the look a little bit, that also, was important to me. I think if it didn't look like an actual, traditional belt, I wouldn't. But, and also this is all like leather. It's stretchy in the back. So, I could wear it if I wanted to, but I figured this is just a better.
I think so.
Yes.
So since I wasn't prepared, I did have this next to me. And you've seen this before. This has been on the show before.
Oh, yes.
We do have the You Can't See Me hand. So in 2015, maybe, so also 5 years ago, maybe around the same time, actually, SmackDown was here in town, and I actually got free tickets to go see SmackDown. And myself and a friend went to see SmackDown at, downtown Phoenix. Sound familiar? And I bought this. At the time, my son, who was 14, was a big John Cena fan. And this sat in his room for a while. And then as he got older and didn't care about wrestling, this became mine again. And so I now I don't want to give it up because it says right there, never give up. So I can't
never give up. Like, that's literally the point.
I would be. What have I learned? Nothing. Like if I gave this up.
Has John Cena taught you nothing, Greg?
No. Well, I can't see him, so can't see him. And of course I got this. So he had this in his room for a few years and then didn't want it anymore. So now it is mine, and it is part of the stuff that I have over here. And yeah, so that's my item of the week. I would get the old Navy item of the week commercial soundbite, but then YouTube would probably hate that. So
yeah, I'd probably hate that. So yes. Well,
maybe I'll get Patrick to sing the item of the week song that Old Navy used to do. The item of the week. There's a new item every week. If I get him to sing that, and I'll put some generic.
That would be everything. Oh my God.
He'll do it. I'll get him to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if you trick him, you have to trick him by saying you're going to do that Triple H podcast. And by the way, I need you to.
But first, I need to record this soundbite. Oh, looks like we're out of time. We're going to do the Triple H We're going to do the Triple H podcast. I'm telling you.
I believe you. I know it's incredibly busy time for for a lot of people. Actually, yeah, I mean, a lot of us, especially myself, you, and Patrick, actually all work in education. So the fall is a fairly busy time frame for our line of work.
It really is, and yes. It never stops.
Yes. So speaking of world champions, I wanted to. Was he world champion? Yes. I was going to say.
He has been world champion.
He has been, yes. Not currently is, but has been. This week I wanted to talk a little bit about the Mysterio family. Rey Mysterio and wife Angie, son Dominik, and recently being introduced to daughter Aalyah. So this is Aalyah? Aalyah. No, I knew it was an A.
You got that much right.
Yes. Okay. It was Aalyah. Okay. Yes. So, of course, Rey, Angie, Dominik, and Aalyah. And this whole storyline has been going on for months throughout the entire summer. It's been a huge part of Monday Night Raw, a huge part of several pay-per-views. And just when we think that the story has kind of ended, it continues to evolve. And one of the biggest points of evolution for this has been the inclusion of the full Mysterio family. This really started, we can kind of actually say it actually started really even further back. If we want to go way back into the time machine, Dominik's first time on WWE television was, 2005? I'm trying to remember. I
think so.
Long ago, with the storyline of Dominik's fraternity between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, which culminated at SummerSlam in a ladder match for, I don't want to say possession, but for
it was basically
Dominik.
The ladder match determined who was Dominik's dad.
Yes.
It was 2005, by the way. The ladder match was 2005.
Yeah,
it was literally like whoever won the ladder match was Dominik's dad. Like, biology didn't matter. It's just whoever won the ladder match.
Hey, and a small little kid, gosh, he just seemed so small, so being in front of crowds that big and everything, it was a crazy storyline, but it was one that, we were still talking about for years and years. And then just recently, over the past year, Dominik reemerged, originally through a storyline between Rey and Brock Lesnar, with Brock attacking Dominik, and Rey and Brock Lesnar having a match, Dominik helping out, but unfortunately Rey still losing. And that ultimately also brought in one King Velasquez into the picture and set up King Velasquez and Brock Lesnar. We lost Dominik for a small amount of time up until this summer, when he became more involved with his dad, after his dad had really a close call with Seth Rollins. Dominik started to step in on behalf of his father and behalf of his family. And at that time, it'd been really identified more, too, that Dominik had been training to go into the family business of professional wrestling. And Seth also started to make it very personal, attacking not only verbally, but physically Rey's family. And, Dominik got kind of caught in all of that. The Monday Night Messiah and the Mysterio family, that connection continued to grow over several months as Dominik really stepped up on behalf of his dad, and Rey doing his best to protect him, but ultimately also realizing that Dominik was an adult, and that this was a path that he wanted to pursue. We had Rey Mysterio lose an eye at the horror show, and Dominik with a really solid performance at SummerSlam. So at SummerSlam, though, as well, Angie, Rey's wife and Dominik's mom, was there observing the match and, kind of got involved. She ended up coming out to watch, or, not really quite sure, because on there Rey was doing a lot more of the talking to Angie. The idea was that probably Angie came out to tell Rey to stop it, to help Dominik, because he was, and for the purposes of WWE in his first professional wrestling match against Seth Rollins, one of the most established wrestlers in the entire world. So Dominik was really had a lot on his plate. Angie probably was out there to try and talk Rey into helping Dominik, but it didn't come across that way. But it did open the door for Angie's presence. And then also a few weeks back, Aalyah started to come into the fold to support her family. And now we have the whole Mysterio family on Monday Night Raw. Greg, tell me real quick. So what is your thoughts about the whole family coming together or being featured as part of this storyline?
So I've got two different responses, the short one and the long one. So here's the short one. Why TF not? I mean, seriously, like why the hell not? But I love it. I think it's great. I'm really happy about it. I want to see it continue. Dominik Mysterio has taken to this like a fish takes to water. I mean, did you know Rey Mysterio, when he wrestled Eddie Guerrero in the infamous Halloween Havoc match, was younger then than Dominik is now? Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
To think about how young Rey Mysterio did this. But Dominik is, I mean, he's better than like half the roster, and he just started. Wait till he actually figures out what he's doing and starts to look like a wrestler. Like, it's going to be Dominik's a star, and it's going to be fantastic. Have a fantastic career ahead of him if he wants it. And it just works. Like Rey Mysterio, like we've watched this family grow through the world of professional wrestling, at least in little snippets. And so to see them come back, and of course everybody thinks, okay, Dominik grew up to be Miro on AEW because of the blonde hair, whatever, that's stupid. But it's
kind of funny.
It's funny, yes, for a second, but like everything else on Twitter.
No, of course not. No, I mean,
but I mean, it's just, I really do love it. And there's one reason that I don't want to go into just yet. It's what I teased you about, or the teaser I sent you via text, but I think this is fantastic. I love that Rey Mysterio is still relevant the way he is in WWE. And I love the involvement. I mean, Seth Rollins, we've talked so long about how Seth Rollins needed to be a heel, and here we are proving us right once again, as WWE and AEW and whatever company always tends to do. But it's in the involvement of Buddy Murphy, which I know you're going to get into. Like, he's such a talented performer, and if we get something we can sink our teeth into with him, I think that could skyrocket him. Like, there's just so much good involved in this. And even if none of that good happened, it's just fun. It really is just fun. When the whole family was kendo sticking people, like,
you took it from me, man. I wanted to say, man, the family that beats together stays together. Like, how is that?
Come on.
Literally, they were all beating Buddy Murphy with kendo sticks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the ones from Angie probably didn't hurt, like, but still, I mean,
like having at least two, if not three of those people, like legit
2.5.
Yeah,
I just love
crazy.
It. I seriously, like, look, maybe it's stupid, okay, maybe it's dumb. I really enjoy it.
Well, it's when bringing in family into wrestling angles, it can go in a lot of different directions. We've seen that used a lot. It's used as ploys to help achieve lots of villainous acts, to help get into the mind of the heroes or the good guys, however we want to frame it under this context. I know that's part of next week. Everyone. But it's just, and there's some that, of course, have a family history in wrestling that is then capitalized to help tell the story. And we have a little bit of both in this. You have this one storyline of Dominik following in his father's footsteps in pro wrestling, and then also the culture of lucha libre, which that is incredibly important, that family, that lineage. And even that's when, the ode to his father in his outfit in his match. And there was even rumors at one time that he was going to go by Prince Mysterio. And even the name, that's such a huge honor in lucha libre culture, and it is very family focused and family oriented. So it absolutely makes sense in that aspect. And then you have the addition of Aalyah and Angie in this, where they're not really a part of it, but now they're there to help support Dominik, to help support Rey. And we're starting to see them get more involved in story. And, you know, could it be working a little better? Yeah, absolutely. I do find like there's a lack of expression in it that they have sometimes that makes me feel like, and of course they're not professional actors, you know, this is something that they're doing as you know, something as a family, but you know, ultimately too, at the same time, this is, you know, it's entertainment. It's there's levels of acting that should be happening that I don't quite, and I think everyone's still trying to figure that out. But ultimately, this tug of war between Rey and Seth Rollins has continued to grow and hasn't staled because, you know, the evolution that this program, this rivalry has taken, it has not been one-dimensional. And they've been able to stretch this out. And like you said, why not? We're in a time frame, too, where we don't have an audience there. And that's kind of a beautiful freedom to have, because a lot of times when a story isn't successful or things are not clicking with the fans, they automatically just shut it down. And in a live environment, it's quickly met by silence or boos. And whether we want to admit it or not, that's probably had some influence on how stories continue to roll based on audience feedback in a live setting. And we don't have that. So WWE is able to play the long game and really continue and work on stretching and developing stories more through time. Now, I talked about this story growing with the addition of Angie and Aalyah. And I really wanted to talk about this because this is more of a recent development from this Monday. And I'm still flopping on how I feel about this. So, and some of this has been more speculated by people on social media. Also, though, the visual from, you know, Monday's a little hard to deny. So Seth Rollins and Dominik were in a cage match. And in that match, Seth won, beating Dominik, and also at the end, beating Buddy Murphy. I mean, we've seen this actually for weeks, where Seth was really abusing Buddy Murphy, his only disciple left. And he took out a lot of his frustration on Buddy Murphy. Angie and Aalyah were on the outside of the steel cage, and Dominik and Rey were inside. And so once the match was over, Seth approached Angie and Aalyah, very kind of, you know, still a little menacing, and hoping that Aalyah turned out better than Dominik. So very intentionally pointing out Aalyah. And also, when they were going into the ring, the cameras really wanted to make a note that Aalyah went to Buddy Murphy to check on him. And so that leaves this big question of why. Why was that a point that they wanted to show? Why did she do that? And there's a healthy population thinking they're going romance angle, they're going, Romeo and Juliet, or I would like to call it West Side Story. Let's be honest. That's really what this is. And at first I, was for it because I think romance angles in wrestling, they have a place. They can be successful. Do the majority of them not work out great? Most of them are terrible. But the ones that are really good are really good. And this has a lot of layers in it that it could actually be very interesting. And you could go so many angles with it. But you also have to look at it from more of a realistic side where, there is a very big age difference. There's, we live in a different time in wrestling and entertainment where romance angles can't work the way that they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. This isn't Triple H drugging Stephanie McMahon into marrying him and then they ultimately fall in love. Like, I feel like romance angles now have to be treated a lot more, I don't want to say delicate, but they have to be paid extra attention because it is important that, and some people say, well, wrestling, it's entertainment. Yes, but one thing about wrestling that's different than other TV shows and movies is that it intentionally blurs the line between reality and entertainment. It intentionally does that. That's part of the mission of wrestling, is to blur that line, to make fans not always sure about what they're watching is real or not. And so I feel like any company approaching a relationship angle has to be mindful of how they do that, how it's projected, the people they use. And so as far as the storyline angle, storyline-wise, I think it has a lot of great potential. So much chaos and turmoil that could happen. Very much, it could be a Tony and Maria situation. But again, it is super, super tricky.
It is, but it isn't. Like, okay, I disagree. I don't think WWE blurs the lines. I think people watching WWE blur the lines. They're pretty overt about the fact this is a TV show. And this is weekly episodic television. They call it weekly episodic television on air all the time. Like, I think, 19-year-old Aalyah and 31-year-old Buddy Murphy, it's 12 years difference, and I think people are going to be okay with it. I think, because then you've got, Buddy Murphy is more aligned with the Mysterio family, but Rey might not be approving of it, and then there's issues there. Like, you got like a whole other year of storytelling you can do. Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio.
I think it would be such a good angle. Like, this could be an actual romance angle with oomph to it that could be successful, because it's not something stupid like, all the times like the whole Lana and Bobby Lashley thing. Like, that in of itself was such a...
Or Angel Garza and the chick from The Bachelor or Bachelorette, which...
I don't know what she's still doing there.
Neither does she.
She doesn't know. I'm so confused.
Just last year, they made a huge deal out of him getting engaged in the ring in NXT. And now we're supposed to forget that ever happened.
And he continues to flirt with...
Right?
I'm so glad, Charlie. You know what? Charlie, girl, you do not deserve that. You deserve so much better.
But it's a TV show, and that's what they're telling everybody. It's a TV show, and this is a TV show angle. But it's so weird, because the moment it started and the Mysterio family got involved, like, I loved it. I just did. I was just like, I can't find anything wrong with it. I just can't. Like, it so fits the time, the type of TV we're putting on, what the WWE's constraints are, where Rey Mysterio is in his career. Like, it all just
works. Really does. It really does. And this is a great platform for Dominik. Like, I think it was always going to be a challenge for him to be introduced as a professional wrestler, and to be able to launch his career through a family angle is great. And ultimately, like I said, it goes...
It's literally been going on for 15 years, if you think.
And even that, like, there was so much poetic justice in that SummerSlam match. Like, I couldn't handle it. I really couldn't. So much into it. Like, I just and that's the beauty of it, when things come together like that in ways that you don't expect, or seeds that were planted 15 years ago that in 2020 you would have never expected. So, I have to agree for the most part. Again, there's things about it, and this is just being more nitpicky. I think overall, at the core of it, it is probably one of the best utilizations of a family in a storyline that I've seen WWE do in a long, long time.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I think, again, that's a big testament to the family being willing to do this, and the environment that they're in. They're able to do a lot more trial and error and a lot more of stretching out stories, because they just have that platform of doing it. And again, too, it's kind of the perfect catalyst with Seth. His persona as this Monday Night Messiah, working on trying to transform and convert people into his ways, and really just laser focus on this family and driving everything that he's doing into almost breaking up this family. And a lot of it we thought, maybe Dominik would turn. But there would even be an interesting side if it was Aalyah that turned.
Yep.
There's so many things that
why
they
not
can do with this.
Like I said, YTF?
Why not
turn Aalyah?
Why not? That could be part of this story, and maybe that's where there's this idea and concept that love saves people. Love saves people and transforms them into better people. But let's be honest, does that really?
Not always.
No. Could it transform people into worse people?
Of course. love makes you blind, and it definitely can cause people to do things that they may regret later. And it's just a lot of bad things that can happen, especially when it's wrestling, and especially when it's a storyline, because you got to tell a story, and you got to tell that story long term, because we don't know when we're going back to the arenas and we're going back to having fans. And I mean, it's like what I talked about during the Greg DeMarco show. You know, my company decided not to renew its lease. Like, maybe WWE is like, we're more profitable this way. We're just going to keep doing it this way. Who knows? I doubt it. But yeah. I definitely think we'll see a reduction in schedule and just a lot of things that'll change. Which, if they tour less frequently, people are going to want to go more often because it's not oversaturated.
You mentioned, though, you had a specific point that you wanted to share about this. I want to give you the opportunity. So I don't know what the point is. So
nope.
Hashtag
save it for the podcast, but here on the hashtag Dave show. But no, so what popped into my head was I really thought about Rey Mysterio himself, not just the family, but Rey himself. And if you think about Rey, honestly think about Rey Mysterio, okay? Take out what he is to the world of Lucha Libre, all right? Because his name means king, and he's literally a king in Lucha Libre. Like, he's a legend. He's a demigod, whatever you want to call him, right? Not the demo god. We're not talking about stupid shit. But it's Rey, and Rey's a legend. But in the eyes of the American fan, the eyes of the WWE fan, which, let's be honest, globally, that is the top fan base. That is the most money-making fan base. That's why people come here to perform. That's why people like Shinsuke Nakamura wanted to, apply their craft here. Rey is not a top-tier guy in terms of history in wrestling. He's not, the Mount Rushmore. If you Mount Rushmore of Lucha Libre, hell yes. But Mount Rushmore of wrestling, no. He's like, some people wouldn't even have him in their top 25 all time. They should probably, but they wouldn't. Mm-hmm. He's entrenched in wrestling history. He won a Royal Rumble. He won a world title at WrestleMania. But he was also like an afterthought sometimes. In 2011, CM Punk beat John Cena at Money in the Bank and then walked out of the building. And WWE held an 8-person tournament to crown a new champion. And the finalists were Rey Mysterio and The Miz. Rey Mysterio beat The Miz to open up an edition of Monday Night Raw to win that championship. The reasons why it opened Monday Night Raw and didn't, because the match got halted by Triple H the week before because something was going on backstage. Like, that's how little this meant. But Rey opens the show by beating The Miz for the title, agrees to defend the belt against John Cena in the main event of that episode of Raw. Cena wins, making Rey a champion for like 2 hours at most, maybe 2.5 hours of Raw. CM Punk comes out. No one even remembers that Rey Mysterio held the WWE Championship that day. Like, that's kind of emblematic of Rey's career in some ways. And if you think about some of the other things he's done, all right, do people even remember that he wrestled a match at All Out or All In? Probably not, okay? Lucha Underground, he wasn't even a top 10 performer in terms of importance on the storylines of that show when all was said and done. Aero Lucha, does anybody even remember that he founded a wrestling promotion called Aero Lucha? We don't know. But I feel like this is the perfect way to transition Rey to the end of his career. Like, this is, to me, giving him a spotlight that he would love because he loves his family. He's a huge family man. And it's gonna paint his family in a positive light in the end. No matter what happens, if Aalyah becomes part of the disciples and turns heel or whatever, in the end, it's going to be a Mysterio family Christmas, and it's going to be amazing, and we're going to love it, and it's just going to be full of joy and Dominik going off and becoming a big-time superstar, which he can do. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we're not pushing somebody who doesn't deserve it here. Like, Dominik is proving he would be a big star. But to me, it's like, I feel like, and this could be bad because people are like, oh, it's a stupid family angle in wrestling, but I love it. I feel like Rey deserves it. I feel like Rey deserves this spotlight for his career because this can be a top 5 storyline in his career, and he deserves one more big, important storyline, in my opinion, because he's been a part of a few big, important storylines, but a ton of smaller, less important storylines that just aren't memorable. I mean, honestly, Rey Mysterio's wrestling career, outside of his importance to Lucha Libre, is probably on par with, like, Sheamus, if you really think about it. And this could put him above that. This could put him into, like, tier 3 all time instead of tier 4 all time. And I'm not trying to knock Rey Mysterio. I'm trying to be realistic about what his career was. But to me, I love it, and I think he deserves it. And I want people to be open to it because I really think Rey's got a lot to do with it, and I just really love that he's at this forefront.
Yeah. And also when you think about what it could mean for Dominik and really being able to transition that legacy or transition even his role, his placement within WWE and to help Dominik with that, I think it's, what better way to do it? Because ultimately Dominik is always going to be compared, associated, connected to his father, to his family. It's always going to be there. So why not start that off? I mean, eventually we're going to see him grow and develop into his own wrestler. But now, I mean, there's really no better way to introduce him because it was already going to happen. And he could fight every way, just like we see, I mean, in some ways with Charlotte. Charlotte fought being associated with her father for many years and only went by her first name. And really didn't play on her father's legacy. But when she started to do that, we started to see better things from Charlotte, just more of her personality.
When she turned on him was when she really started to bloom. Like, because Charlotte's a better, bad guy, better heel personality trait. I'm calling back to the Greg DeMarco show topic that never happened, but better heel personality trait in Charlotte. And you're right. Like, Dominik Mysterio can be hindered by his last name or helped by his last name. Mm-hmm. And the way I see it is that you can either be Curtis Axel or you can be Cody Rhodes or you can be Randy Orton. Mm-hmm. All right. You either never amount to what your dad was or your parents were. You can equal what your parents were, or you can far surpass what your parents were. If he can be Cody Rhodes, I go backward. He's already Cody Rhodes in terms of how people are going to perceive him. Now, if he bombs over the next few years, okay, he's Curtis Axel. But to me, I think he's on pace to at least to be Cody Rhodes. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. But could he beat Randy Orton? I don't know, because Rey Mysterio, I talked about Rey Mysterio going from the fourth tier all-time, third tier all-time. Well, Bob Orton's probably like tier 7 or 8. So, he wore a cast for like 20 years, and that was a big thing. And Randy Orton's like tier 1, tier 2, let's be honest. But Dominik is already there. He's already at the level of a Cody Rhodes in terms of being compared to his dad. And that's just fantastic. Is that Sadie or is that Mickey?
This is Sadie.
Sadie again.
Yes. Speaking of family, I couldn't help it.
Somebody loves the camera.
Yeah, huh? You love the camera, Sadie.
So Sadie, question for you. First of all, so do you think that Dominik Mysterio will become, it's like I'm speaking a different language and you're translating this to Don.
Yes.
Dominik Mysterio will be Curtis Axel, Cody Rhodes, or Randy Orton?
What do you think?
Bark once.
Where do you see Dominik Mysterio going in his
Curtis Axel, Cody Rhodes, or Randy Orton?
Randy Orton. She actually thinks Randy Orton. I feel like the licks are
licked for Randy Orton.
I think she. Randy Orton.
Sadie says so. Why TF now?
Yeah. No, I told him. She said.
Yeah, I heard. I'm right here. There you go. It's me. I feel like the dog looked directly at me for a second there.
No, she did. She's pretty smart sometimes,
Yeah, she is.
Yes. But do this, okay. But no, very, very, very good points. And are you sleepy? So is this boring you? Am I boring to you?
You know what's funny? Had you done this, you probably would have made me interview your dog anyway. So it worked out.
I know. No, we're saving that for later. We're saving that for a later episode. She had to run. She had some things she had to do. She was just saying, like, I'm stopping by. She literally left. Sadie has left the conversation.
Yes, goodbye, Sadie. It was nice having you on the show. And,
yes, thank you. Come back soon.
Such good dog.
Such good shit.
Yes, but and this could, again, the catalyst, and we don't know really what the direction will be through the rest of the story and even after, because ultimately too, it's what happens for us to keep the attention on Dominik after this, because once Rey leaves the picture, how engaged are we going to be with Dominik? And this could help set us up for more or to learn more about Dominik as an individual, as a character. I think that's something that is going to take a lot of time. But having the family dynamic could be a way, especially if they're really looking at, utilizing him in more of a face role. There's nothing more honorable than defending your family. And if we get to that next level where someone's messing with the sister, oh, hell no. Even in the elements, when Shane and Stephanie, when Shane was dealing with Stephanie dating and marrying Tess, at that time Shane was a heel, but there was elements of him that were fairly sympathetic because it's a big brother watching over his younger sister. And that's a tale as old as time. I have given my younger sisters, significant others, a hell of a time. Because that's just what you do when you have a younger sibling. So there's elements there that you are drawn to Dominik as a son, as a brother, and so I think they're laying some really good foundation here. And I think, I don't think it's really stupid. When I look back at stupid storylines like Hulk Hogan and Randy Orton, and that whole family dynamic, really, really stupid. Yeah. I know there's others. That was just the first one that came to mind. I mean, there's others that are obviously stupid if you are going to compare stories. This one I don't view as stupid.
Has potential.
I really
a ton of potential. It really does. So I'm gonna have some fun here real quick, because two things that I want to know about Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio, and we'll go percentage chance, okay?
Okay, yeah.
It's just for the heck of it. Percentage chance that Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio are tag team champions in WWE.
Oh, I knew you were going to go into that direction. Oh, man. Raw tag team champions, probably.
Whichever.
I know. I just feel like the Raw tag team titles are a lot more fast and loose.
Nah.
Yes. I'm going to go, I'll probably go a little bit over 50. I'm going to say 54.
Yeah, 54. I don't have Excel open, so it's not going to calculate out. I'm like 82% chance.
Damn.
I think Rey wants it. I think Rey would love to be tag team champions with his son. And I think that's
literally a dream. I think there's brothers, fathers and sons that dream about that.
Percentage chance that Buddy Murphy is somehow gone from Raw, because everybody who's involved with Seth Rollins lately ends up being gone at some point, because Austin Theory's down getting squashed in NXT. Akam and Razar have been released from the company, and now you got Buddy Murphy, who just got beat up by, is he going to end up going to SmackDown? Is he going back to 205 Live? Is he going back to NXT? Percentage chance that Buddy Murphy ends up.
No, because he's the last punching bag left, literally. So, I feel like they have some mileage with him still left as the punching bag of Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to say I'm going to keep it still fairly low for now. I'm going to say 43%.
I'm going to go, and this is what I would chastise people for, because it can really go either way. So I'm going to do it 50% chance that Buddy Murphy ends up whatever. Okay, last one. And this is really, I don't want to say deep, but you're talking about career longevity or career development or whatever. So percentage chance that Dominik Mysterio goes down in history as at least a one-time NXT champion.
Oh, NXT, I don't know. Because I feel like he's not going to go back. I think he's going to stay on Raw and SmackDown for a while. I don't foresee him. I think it would be smart for him to go to NXT. I think it would actually be great for his career on a technical level to really hone and develop his craft and have some great wrestling matches, because that's one thing you're really not going to get on Raw or SmackDown unless it's very niche, or you're just not going to get a lot of long, great matches, and the technical ability it's going to be solid, but it's not going to be super memorable. But I feel like once you hit, very rarely are people seemingly moving back to NXT. So I'm going to say that.
Funny how you say that when Finn Balor's the NXT champion.
Well, I said rarely.
Rarely are the NXT tag team champions.
Rarely. Those are the exceptions to the rule. Those are the exceptions.
Or is that the new NXT?
I'm gonna say. I don't know. It's hard. I'm gonna keep that pretty long and even go lower. I'm gonna say 30. I'm gonna say 38%.
He's 23 years old, I think 23, and it's got a long career ahead of him. Say Rey is done in 2 years, then he's 25. Dominik could get overexposed this early in his career. I think NXT could be an option. So I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to say 47% chance that Dominik Mysterio goes down as at least a one-time NXT champion in his career. So that's it. Little odds there on the side just because some things popped into my head, and I've been doing dumb shit all day. So.
Well, those are our thoughts on the Mysterio family and their presence on Monday Night Raw and the possible careers of Dominik Mysterio and ultimately the legacy of Rey Mysterio. So let us know your thoughts. Feel free to leave your comments. Reach out to us on social media. And, well, the next thing we got to do is we got to pay some bills.
Yeah, we do. So I got to go find the bills. So there we go.
Lucha-Masks.com by Pro Wrestling Revolution, bringing you, in partnership with Mask Republic, the Lucha Brothers, as well as Japanese legend Ultimo Dragon. Go to Lucha-Masks.com and fight Lucha Strong with masks from your favorite Lucha legends and Pro Wrestling Revolution luchadores. Stay safe in style and represent your favorite luchador. Get yours now at Lucha-Masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
This is your boy Kenny Killer telling you to make sure you check out thechairshot.com, bringing you breaking news, interviews, podcasts galore, everything pro wrestling. Make sure you check it out, thechairshot.com.
You got two items this week with Mini Finn right there.
Yeah. Mini Finn could still be used later, though.
Yes, Mini Finn. I mean, we've talked about it before, actually. I think I talked about it on the show. It was one of my early episodes because he was the Dollar Tree find. So
don't say too much. Hashtag save it for another podcast. Hashtag save it for another episode.
It's already been on a podcast. Like, you've told the Adam Pearce story like 4 times. The Adam Pearce story you told today, I've heard like multiple times.
And it's relevant every time.
It's not relevant every time.
Sure it is.
So real quick, the equivalent to a 3-minute warning, which could be a 30-minute conversation. Hopefully not, but
I hope not.
Hopefully not, because I got things to do.
Me too.
We also saw on Monday Night Raw a new possible challenger for Asuka. So and again, that's a whole other conversation regarding the end of the match between Asuka and Mickie James. But after her match with Mickie James, Asuka was approached by Zelina Vega, who came into the ring and slapped Asuka. Now, this is something I think a lot of fans were very surprised because we have not seen Zelina in a wrestling capacity throughout her career in the WWE. She's really been more in a managerial role. She's had some spots here and there. Most recently, she teamed up with the Iconics prior to their breakup. And other matches here and there with Bianca Belair and against Bianca Belair. So it does feel like it came out of left field to have Asuka or to have Zelina Vega challenge Asuka. And again, we don't know yet, but you don't slap someone in the face and not want to challenge them. So, I do think that Zelina has done wonders in her role as a manager, but we've also started to see the breakdown of the tag team of Andrade and Angel Garza. And it still seems like her alliance with Andrade is still strong, but ultimately it seems like, girl, it's time to focus on yourself. I'd say treat yourself all the time. And apparently Zelina Vega's her version of treating herself is to go after the Raw Women's Championship. But I'm curious, how is this going to be set up? Zelina's not necessarily known for her wrestling ability. Not to say that she doesn't have it. She absolutely does, but it's just something that we don't see very often against Asuka, who is notably one of the best wrestlers, really in the entire company. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that is this going to be something that could ultimately, I'm not worried about Zelina because actually I feel like this is going to help her way more than it's going to help Asuka. Is this actually going to hurt Asuka going into this upcoming program with Zelina?
No, it's not going to hurt Asuka at all. Zelina is very entertaining. Zelina's fantastic in her role. We know Zelina can't hang with Asuka. We know Zelina's not ready for Asuka. That's part of the story, though. Like, everybody watching that would think that Zelina's not ready for Asuka, which makes it even better if she wins, whether it be a fluke roll-up or whether it be interference, and that maybe even Zelina's challenging of Asuka is what brings her team kind of back together. And you know, there could be some of that. You know, she could win through nefarious means, then Asuka wins it back. There's a lot of possibility there. Asuka is one of the best wrestlers, male or female, doesn't matter anymore. Just one of the best wrestlers in the world. Yes. And she is fully capable of getting a good to great match out of Zelina Vega.
Yes.
Zelina Vega, not known for her in-ring acumen, doesn't need it. But to me, this is more of a character advancement, a character development for Zelina than it is anything else. And I love it. I think it's great. And again, it's we talked about earlier, and it keeps coming up, and it's where we're at right now. Why the fuck not? Like, seriously.
Yeah, it really does. And that's the thing, too. I think that there's things that Zelina can do in a program with Asuka where she can really carry that promo-wise and story-wise in ways that I think Asuka, like, she can carry what she does in the ring. Zelina will be able to draw eyes to it. Now, it's, you know, very different than what we've seen Asuka face with. I mean, she's had challenges from Nia and, you know, more recently Mickie James. And so, again, each of those programs have different dynamics to it, which, of course, you know, Asuka has been able to face. With Nia was more of a size difference in the strength of Nia, and of course with Mickie James it was, you know, really her level of skill, her being really a legend within the women's division. Yeah. I think what Zelina will bring to this is just someone who is straight up nasty, someone straight up who is maniacal, someone who is straight up, and maybe if that plays into the psychology too. That's one thing we haven't seen. And I think it would be interesting if we actually see someone who breaks more into the psyche of Asuka. And I mean, she is truly a warrior. Yeah. I mean, she is, I think, both physically and mentally unbreakable. But I think eventually you do have to start seeing where the cracks in the shield are. Mm-hmm. I think you're right about, you know, where Andrade and Angel could come into play, whether it is a fluke win or a roll up or something, just something where if Asuka kind of second guesses herself for 1 second, that's where Zelina, could come in, because she's that smart, you know, and hopefully they present this in a way that shows that this is something that Asuka hasn't faced before, with someone who is, again, maybe not necessarily as menacing in the ring as her, but psychology-wise is someone that you cannot let your guard down, because she will pounce at you. She will take any opportunity. And that's what I love about Zelina. I truly enjoy that about her character. I think it works perfectly, but not in a way where it is it's viewed more as like a power move. Like everything since moment one of Zelina's presence in WWE, even in NXT, it was always presented as a business sense, not as just not a valet. It's always someone who was the brains behind the brand. So if we can translate that from, you know, her in a management role to her in ring, she can be super dangerous.
She can. And a couple things on this for me. First of all, I said, you know, Zelina's obviously not ready for Asuka. Maybe Asuka's not ready for Zelina when you talk about the mental part of it, right? Maybe. And maybe we'll find that out. I think long term, this is going to do wonders for Zelina. Yeah. Is it a bridge to eventually get to Asuka and Shayna Baszler? Probably. But it's a good bridge, in my opinion. I mean, who else?
I don't mind it. And it's a good utilization of, you know, what they have right now on the women's roster, because. And
Zelina's got momentum.
Yeah.
She's had it for a while. Like, she's been one of the shining stars of this pandemic era WWE. It's brought up something that I thought of earlier with the whole, you know, Mysterio family drama, and now with Zelina. And it's something that I don't think people have noticed. And I think that, you know, so maybe we're cracking something new here. Notice how none of these things have gotten out before they've happened. Mm-hmm. Like, we haven't known about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
before it's taken place. Like, we wouldn't have known Keith Lee was going to Raw if they didn't advertise it. Like, none of this stuff is getting leaked. And, connecting the dots is a dangerous thing to do, but everybody who they've released from the company, by and large, has gone on someone else's TV show and run down the company. But since they've been released, no new stuff is getting leaked out of the company. So maybe one could put two and two together and think, who were the ones leaking information out? Maybe when WWE decided to make their releases, that had something to do with how they made their decisions. Who is hurting the company by talking crap to outside sources? And because you notice a lot of people get released, they immediately go on websites and do interviews with people who are news people. And it's just, I've joked about, Carl Anderson before. I've joked about the Revival and the connections they have with some people outside. Rusev, now he's out there and he's complaining about the use of his wife, but also, nothing's getting leaked anymore. We look at some of the agents that got released. A lot of those agents were big podcast people before they became agents. Nothing's getting leaked anymore. Just gonna throw that out there.
Just throw it out there. Who knows?
Thought for food.
We can't use the X-Files song for
No,
that.
but I mean, there's some other things that I can use if I can find them. Where the hell is it? Is it not on your show? It's not in your shows, sound bites? Why not?
Why not?
Dumb.
Why not? Okay.
Just gonna throw those things out there. Just think about it. Just think about it for a second.
Just think about it, yes. Well, let us know your thoughts on Zelina Vega possibly challenging Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, and just your thoughts on this week's episode. If you are listening to this episode through Spotify, Podbase, or I don't know, iHeartRadio. I'm not sure where this is. Probably not. iTunes. Then you could subscribe, rate, and review this show, along with other shows on the Chairshot Radio Network, which is part of the Chairshot.com.
Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
The Chairshot.com. Always use your head.
Still was not the actual finger that pressed the button.
No, it wasn't, no. And if you are listening to this, you may be missing out on some of our shenanigans on the visual show, including me featuring one of my dogs, Sadie, earlier. So check this out on YouTube.
Too. Doesn't make as much sense.
No, it just doesn't make much sense. Because also Sadie didn't say anything.
You spoke for her.
I spoke for her, yes. I'm her advocate.
I just... Now I wish. Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll work on that next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I serve as the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed, universal champion.
Dave, it's me, Dave.
Heyman and Dave would have been great. Okay.
Okay. Yes. We're done. We're done. We're
Goodbye.
done. And go ahead to prowrestlingtees.com/the Chairshot and get your very own Chairshot t-shirt. Follow us on social media at the # Miranda on Instagram and Facebook, at Chairshot Media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and Chairshot Greg on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for being on this wild ride with me every single week. I cannot thank you enough. I truly appreciate it, and it just warms my heart. I hope you got some laughs out of this, maybe a few awes, or, whatever you get out of this. I just hope this is, something that makes you happy. This is why I do it, and I hope you enjoy it. So for Greg DeMarco, I'm Miranda Morales, and make sure to always keep it soft style.
Would you shut the hell up?